Hey y'all, it's Sabrina Denise with Feeding Time again. Um, I had talked to my best friend after the last video, and of course she, applauded it because I had been talking about getting back into it for a while, and so I just kind of did it and didn't tell her I was gonna do it. But the advice she gave me was to be who I am when I'm talking to her, when I talk to y'all. So that's what I'm gonna do. That first time I was a little nervous and long-winded, so I'm gonna try to make this one a little shorter, for uploading purposes and all of that. And I'm still learning all of that. So anyway, I want to say this, and me giving y'all what I give her, you may hear a couple different accents. I might go into a couple different modes because I'm very colorful like that, quite like my jacket. But call me Joseph. But anyway, so anyway, yeah, just flow with me. I'm just gonna give it to y'all, how it comes. So bam, this is what I want to talk to y'all about. I wanted to kind of give you a follow-up from my last video, which was about you're needed at home, your attention. So when I tell you a lot has been and is being revealed about the importance of me being at home, but the main thing I want to touch on right now is, y'all remember that video that was going around? It was Denzel Washington, and he was talking about how a mother is a son's first love, but the son is not the mother's first love, especially the oldest. Bam. So that's the first thing that got my wheels to spinning months ago on how I'm dealing with my son. He's only 11. Actually, he'll be 11 this month. And then I have a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So I have 4 boys. And thank goodness that they're all at this age where I'm learning what I'm learning now so that I can apply. I have dealt with men who who felt like a motherless child, who was a motherless child, who didn't deal with trauma. And I dealt with the consequences of all of that, you understand, and was busy, not even busy, but in some cases trying to nurture the little boy that never got nurtured. And it kept me holding on for reasons of attachment more than, the reality of it all. So anyway, we don't want to continue to raise those kind of sons. You understand what I'm saying? So it's important that we, pour into them from our best. Let me say this also. Just because you're not saying to your son or children, but I'm really speaking about the boys right now, you ain't nothing, you ain't never gonna be nothing, or you stupid, you dumb, or, just because you're not saying that doesn't mean that you're not still causing some emotional trauma or some type of self-esteem issue or some type of mental health thing that you could be, creating in them. Our actions, our body language, and not responding are also ways that we can effectively affect them in a negative way. Okay? We have enough men out here not knowing their place, not knowing their role, not knowing how to think, not knowing how to take accountability, as well as we have enough women out here. But that ain't what I'm talking about right now. So, uh, so anyway, my oldest son, amazing young man. All my children has always done well in school. I always get complimented on my children, so much so that I be thinking, who y'all talking about when I get up to the school? You know what I mean? But they have never really given me no major problems, but the school be giving a report like they talking about some other kids sometime, and I'll be like, whoa. But at the same time, I'm glad. Like, it's even been times where me and my family will go out to eat and people will come over to the table and just be like, man, your children are, that's before I had all of them, though. The newer ones is a little more, yeah. So anyway, this is what I want to share today, okay? As a follow-up to You're Needed at Home. My 10-year-old son. The Denzel video started making my, thoughts turn about how I'm dealing with him, how I'm, interacting with him. And I realized, one thing I realized is I correct and verbally discipline him more than I compliment and commend him, okay? He's an awesome child. He's the one currently that always checks on me, make sure I'm all right. You know what I mean? And I'm so busy in my head about how I think my children should be that I'm not really realizing how amazing they already truly are. You know what I mean? Like I said, they've always all been accelerated and great in school, and some didn't skip grades, and my 5-year-old read on the 5th grade level, and like my oldest daughter kicked school butt all her life, like, right. So when you have that, and then they don't give you major problems at home, overall, you like, I got good kids. You know what I mean? And I do, but that doesn't mean other things don't exist within them. You understand? And that's how we sometimes miss paying attention to those other things, because we're in the compliments and the, well, ain't no school calling me, ain't nobody going to jail, and ain't none of that happening. So, so here's what I realized. Another thing that I realized in dealing with my oldest son, that there's certain things that we just have to let boys do, whether we understand it or not as a mom. And then one of the other things is that, that's my neighbor and the mail lady. We get a different mail person every day. Sometimes they come at 5, 6 p.m., but whatever. God bless them. It's hard to get workers these days. I get it. So anyway, what I realized is also, I saw this little clip of Miss Ayala Von Zant, and she was talking to this mother, and she was telling the mother, even though the mother had a grown son, married and all of that, she was telling the mother, that she's emotionally ruining her son. You telling your son he's not a man. Thank you, sweetie. Have a good day. And she was like, you know how Miss Ayala gets, she was like, it is mothers that ruin sons, that get them emotionally distraught. That's why in our community, she hitting on the table, that's why in our culture, the men will come and get the boys when they get a certain age, so that the mothers don't ruin them. So that was another piece for me that made me start looking at me different and how I'm dealing with my sons. Really the oldest one right now, but it's gonna all trickle down. You feel me? So here's an example. So one night we was all in the living room. A lot of times me and all my kids will just sleep in the living room. They go get their blankets, we in the living room, especially if we have a movie night and fall asleep. So we all in the living room. It's nighttime. Some headlights kind of hit the door. My front door cracked. So my son, the oldest one, gets up. He got his shirt off. He in the house because he chilling. And he walked into the door, right? And my first thought was to be like, out of habit, boy, what is you doing? You know what I mean? So I let him go to the door, look out the door, come back, and he was like, oh yeah, I had saw some headlights, in the driveway. Very protector, even the way he walked to the door, And the old me would have said, what was you gonna do? Because, in my mind, you 10, what are you, But it kicked in for me. He's a male. They are naturally protectors. And don't take that away from him. Don't let, because of his age or his size, let me, is defile the word I want to use? But don't let me break down his spirit or his thrive or his manliness, his courage by, my words of negativity. And that was really a moment for me. And I just kind of looked at him after that and was like, yes, let that boy be a young man. Don't interfere with that. He's supposed to get up and see what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? Just because he's a child doesn't take away from that. Also, real quick, and I see this video about to be as long as the other ones. I thought I was going to come out here and talk to y'all for like 3 minutes, but nah. And if you know me, you already know. So, and my younger 2 sons, age 3 and 5, I feel like there's a spirit of violence on them. They fight all the time, each other. There's some anger there. There's a couple different things there, right? So not only am I praying about it, I now have them praying for each other. Because I was asking God one day in my bedroom, like, what can I do that has not been done within my, upbringing that can add to the growth of my children, period, and spiritually, across the board. And, what the word I got was teach them how to pray for each other. So I literally have the 3-year-old and 5-year-old, although I'm going to do all of them, because why wouldn't they know how to pray for each other? You know, I have them laying hands on each other. After they get into a little brawl real quick, I have them laying hands on each other and repeat after me. And it's this prophet that I watch who is amazing. Shout out to Prophet Lovy. If you don't know, you need to know. That's Lovy. Who encourages a lot of my growth and learning. You know what I mean? Who teaches me a lot of how to go deeper and all of that. And I'll do a whole nother video about that, man. But when my children see him, well, the 3-year-old, he'd be like, "Go hallelujah." You know what I mean? I think that's so cute. But anyway, the point of this video today was, one, to give y'all a follow-up and to also talk to my mothers and fathers, you know me, wherever it fit, apply it to wherever it applies, on how we dealing with our sons. It's so serious, because we so quick to try to make sure they tough and rough, but that inside be a mess, baby, be rotten. You know what I mean? So there's something to I think it was in The Making of a Slave. It had came out when I had printed out my Willie Lynch letter years ago, but it was also an attachment of A Making of a Slave. And it was talking about how we train the girls to be mentally strong, but we train the boys to be physically strong but mentally weak. You can look around. There is a lot of that. And I'm sure I'm going to have to cut this video up and do a part 1, part 2, because we already at 12 minutes and some seconds. But when it's good, it's good. I can't just wrap it up. And when it's flowing, it's flowing. You know what I mean? So, again, we really want to be mindful of how we are dealing with our sons, man. It's imperative. It's imperative. And not only how we dealing with them, what we exposing them to, what we allowing them to do. My sons can't do none of the hip dances. They can't do them in front of me. They can't do nothing that I believe a woman should be doing or a girl should be doing. I don't care who said it's cool. I don't care who said it's in. I'm not encouraging it. I can't keep them from everything and all of that, but I can definitely, as while they're under my roof, I can limit some of the exposure and what I allow, and just going with my values and morals. You know what I mean? Period. It was a lot of things my mother did that she did what she knew how to do. But there's a lot of things she did that I still keep and I still embed in my children, because I live to see the benefits of them with me and my siblings. So anyway, again, the moral of this video was to follow up on your attention is needed at home, and also to really make the mothers, parents, period, aware of how we're dealing with our sons, our children, period, but definitely mothers, how we're dealing with our sons. Like I said, and I'm sure y'all can relate, I have, dealt with the consequences of mothers dealing with their sons from their trauma, or from them not knowing, not just because they wanted to handle their sons rough and be, messy with them. But when you don't know, you don't know. So that's why it's important for me to make these videos, because I want to bring awareness to everything that I've become aware of. Everything I'm learning, I want to share with you. Not from no, I'm this master teacher, or, I'll get there though. But not from that perspective, but just, each one teach one kind of thing. You feel me? So that's what it boils down to for me. I hope this feeding was good. I hope you feel like you've been fed. And I want to share 2 things before I go. One is my Hey, my neighbor, I mean, there, I'm waving at the neighbor, talking about my neighbor, but my son, who's 10 that I was talking about, this is his book that's on Amazon. And all you really have to do is put his name in. That's his first and middle name, Sabian Dyson. And it's a book about, it's a lesson on lying. It's a true story, but it's funny, about him trying to sneak on that tablet after I said time is up. And he learned a real good little lesson in there. So yeah, it is on Amazon. You can just put his name in. Sabian Dyson is right there at the bottom. And this other book, this our most recent family book, me and my 13-year-old daughter collaborated on this one, and y'all probably have seen this on social media. This is the Tell Girl Tell book. This is the book that encourages children and teaches children how to expose unsafe people, be it adults or family or whoever. And even though it's called Tell Girl Tell, we address the boys in here as well. It's also on Amazon. You could just put in Sabrina Denise and all of my books will come up, except my son's book. It's solely under his name. I also have some journals on Amazon as well. So yeah, wanted to throw that in there. I will eventually create a way for you guys, if you want to personally contact me and communicate, I will be eventually planning a way for that to happen so that we don't have to talk in the chat or the little, through the text and the videos or whatever. Because I understand that some people really need some ears and some words, and I do want to make myself available. But let these videos feed you how they feed you, and apply what you can, and ask questions. If I see questions, I will respond. So yeah, Sabrina Denise, feeding time. I hope you've been fed. Thanks for your time. Enjoy your day.